everybody, and welcome back to Bodyslam The Competition. My name is Chris Adams, your host, and with us this week is the co-host Mike Currents in the
Hey
flesh.
guys,
Live and in Technicolor, if you will.
you asked for it.
That's right, you asked for it, and now you've gotten it. Mike and I have made a pact that we will not try to bore you with our boring sense of humor consistently. We will try to be as straightforward as we can, as possible as that is, but don't hold us to it 100%. This week, we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 32?
32,
32, I
yes.
believe it is 32. WrestleMania 32 and the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony this year, and giving you our thoughts and opinions on everything. Now, before we get this underway, I just want to express that I have been in contact with WWE headquarters on a serious note, trying to get permission to use video, audio, whatever I can for reporting purposes for their stuff. And this is my first video with any such thing in it. We will be having the Hall of Fame videos, hopefully, that the WWE has put out for each individual, and I will put them in here in the video with the names as we call them out, and hopefully nothing will go from there. I claim no copyright to them. Bodyslam The Competition claims no right to it. It's just fully WWE content that we are reporting on. So just to make that clear up front. How to do, Mike? Am I going to jail?
Possibly, but
Hope,
not for that.
hopefully not. All right. So our first inductee we're going to talk about, this is no particular order from how they were introduced over the weeks, but our first inductee that we're going to talk about, because I think they are the most deserving of the entire list. It's been way too long for them. The first inductee for us in the 2016 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony will be the Freebirds.
The
Mike,
fabulous Freebirds, oh my, like you said, most deserving, bar none, of the people going in this year. Storied career, you know, traveled all over, big stars everywhere, pretty much changed tag team wrestling for the better, might I add, because, the people, without the Freebirds, we wouldn't have the New Day. And you know how I feel about the New Day, Chris.
I believe, well, yes, I do know how you feel about the New Day. You were probably would be the first member, the first Caucasian member, I must say, who would ever be admitted you love them so much. If they just knew how much you loved them, they would probably bring you aboard and have you on there immediately, and you could be the one up there dancing right by Big E, shaking the booty.
So you mean I could be like the Owen Hart in the Nation?
You could be the Owen Hart of the Nation of Domination. All right, that could be you
I've got to
with
get to a Raw like now.
that could be you with the New Day. I would pay money to see that. Just see you in the ring up there shaking it with Big E and Kofi Kingston, while the other guy plays his trombone, because that's what he's good at, playing his trombone or whatever that tool is he's got. Anyway, they've really truly they have taken it over the years to a new level, and uh, quite a few tag teams looked up to them coming in, of the newer tag teams. If you've ever heard some of the people talk about them, they'll mention the Rock and Roll Express, of course, and your Midnight Expresses and your Legion of Dooms. But when you get to charismatic tag teams, one of the first names that come out of their mouths are Freebirds and Michael P.S. Hayes, because they did that. They were rock and roll for tag teams like Rock and Roll Express was. But they're probably one of the first, if not only, tag team really to come out with their own video and single to introduce himself to the ring, and I'm talking about Bad Street USA.
They were definitely innovators in a lot of different aspects of not only tag team wrestling but wrestling in general, Chris. And they were great talkers. They were great brawlers. They were great. Uh, it, they were just of the time. They were the thing. They were the it factor. Michael P.S. Hayes was like the glue that held it, and I think anyone could stick with him. I mean, don't get me wrong, Terry Bam Bam Gordy was the Freebirds as well, but I think you could have stuck anyone with Michael P.S. Hayes and made it work
You,
after the initial run.
you know, after Buddy Roberts stopped running with him, and after Terry Gordy, I don't know if Terry Gordy had passed away at this point or not, or if he was just in Japan wrestling at the time, or what he was doing. But you've had anybody from Jimmy Jam Garvin wrestling with him as a new version of the Freebirds, to Michael P.S. Hayes and Steve Cox. And I know you weren't on the show with me and Fred that week when we talked to Steve Cox on here, which I might add was a great podcast interview. If any of you people out there did not get to listen to it, go to the archives and pull up Steve Cox. The man is hilarious, tells good stories, and it was a fun guy to watch in the ring when he was there. Um, but they're well deserved, and it's about time they got in there. It probably, I don't know if it's nicer that they're going in Texas since they had that big feud with the Von Erichs all those years and were well known there, or maybe if they should have went in Atlanta or something like that because they're known for Bad Street, GA. So I'm not sure which way to go with it, but I'm just glad they're in. Period, because
Yeah,
a lot of people have been shunned so far, and they were too for the longest. Now they're in.
it's been way too long. It has been way too long.
It has. Well, we're to our next inductee here. We've got this was actually the first one announced for WWE this year. We are talking about the Hall of Famer currently now, the icon, the whatever you want to call him, falling from the rafters. And we got none other than Sting going into Hall of Fame this year.
The man called Sting. While Sting has had a wonderful and just outstanding career, I really don't know why he's going in the WWE Hall of Fame. Have no clue. I mean, he has spent his time in the WWE basically jobbing, in my opinion, wrestling below his self. But I mean, Sting deserves a Hall of Fame, no doubt. Maybe not right now, but in the future, yes.
Well, from what I understand, let's touch on this what you said a second ago about him jobbing to the people when he came in. He came in for Triple H at WrestleMania. Then went on to take on Seth Rollins, in which he got hurt during that match also, and was out during there, and Seth Rollins got the pin on him. From what I understand and have read, there was an interview with Sting about his coming to WWE finally, and him losing to Triple H at WrestleMania 32. Some felt, myself included, that Sting should have been given that victory over Triple H coming in, for the simple fact of, yes, we know you're the authority or whatever, you're the son-in-law to the owner, you're this, you're that, you are the game. But I mean, come on, they had their fun already in knowing that they put them out of business. Don't rub it in a little bit more by bringing the person back 10 years later, 15 years later, whatever it was, and then giving him a shot, and then taking the cheap shot victory with a sledgehammer and pinning him 1, 2, 3. The match could have been better. I think they should have left the NWO and the New Age Outlaws out of it completely, or DX, I mean, not just New Age Outlaws, left them out of that match. But Sting had said that he's there to help put over the young talent now. He said his time is come and gone. He loved his time in the ring. He was grateful for it. Now he wants to move on, and he wants to put forward the new talent. So if that means putting up to or doing the job to Seth Rollins so he can win and making him look good, great. Triple H was not young talent, we'll say that. That was the ego thing. But I do believe he was going beyond him after Seth Rollins to Bray Wyatt, and putting Bray Wyatt over next was the whole plan. And then he got hurt, and at that point we don't know what's going to happen anymore with him. So whether he wrestles or not anymore is just up in the air. Now whether he deserves it or not, I don't know. Why is he going in WWE Hall of Fame? Vince doesn't put in anybody else, it seems like, over the years that belong in there that were before Sting. Like we said before, Mike, there's no Ivan Koloff, there's no Luthez, there's quite a few people who's deserving who aren't there. So Sting, does he deserve a Hall of Fame? Yes, he does. Does he deserve it this year? Nah. No, you could have put Sting off several more years. He's still young. You could have put Sting off 10 years if you wanted to before he got in, and he'd still be around to come up there and give you his speech of things and stuff. So I think they could have passed on him this year, maybe even next year, if they wanted to. But it's a money deal. It's part of a money deal still. They sell tickets for the Hall of Fame to come watch people get in the Hall of Fame like they do for WrestleMania, and people are going to pay to watch Sting go in. So
Yes, sir.
it's my opinion on it. Do you have anything else on Sting that you want to say, or?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Well, let's go on to the next person. Now, this next person here, I'm kind of on the fence line myself as well. I can see him in the future, yeah, but maybe not now. But Mike, you're going to touch on this first, and we're talking none other than The Godfather.
The Godfather. Why, of all the gimmicks that they had to pick, did they pick The Godfather? I'll never understand it. The man behind The Godfather, yes, he was Papa Shango, Kama Mustafa during the Nation of Domination. He was also the Good Father during Right to Censor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know that he was all that great of a talent. I mean, I guess they just had to throw some Attitude Era guy in there. And they picked that particular gimmick, which I would not have picked. But I'm not a big wig in WWE. Does he deserve a Hall of Fame? Possibly, maybe sometime in the future. Does he deserve it now? In my opinion, no.
I'm kind of on there with you at the same thing. This is kind of like a Sting thing for me. I understand why he's picked. He's he was made with the WWE ever since being Papa Shango. He was the soul taker in the developmental area for WWE and brought in as Papa Shango. Moved further and forced from there into the Nation of Domination, like you said, and then took on the Godfather. Now the Godfather was probably what a lot of fans would consider the most entertaining version of what this guy did. I thought Papa Shango was probably the most interesting version of what he did because he was looked at and perceived as being somebody powerful, strong, hard to take down. Um, did you go from that 2 gimmicks later to the Godfather? It's almost like I don't know. It's almost Terry Taylor to Red Rooster laughable in a way, if you think about it. So
That was painful, Chris. That was
I
painful.
know,
That was a
I
painful
know
analogy.
that was a cheap shot on my part. I probably should not have put that in there. Now Terry Taylor will never come on the show. Way to go, Chris.
Hey,
God,
it's usually me. It's usually me, Chris. So
I
I don't feel
know.
so bad now. I
Man,
mean,
it's here.
because
Look, Terry Taylor, if you're watching, please look. I'm sorry.
and Terry, we know it wasn't your idea to put that waddle on and that
No,
comb on your
no,
head.
couldn't have
We
been.
know you had nothing. Just like Hector Guerrero had no desire to don the gobbledygooker.
Exactly.
You
No way.
did not want to be the
No.
Red Rooster.
No way. Coco Beware did not. Well, Coco had no job anyway at the time. He probably do anything at that point. And now there's no Coco Beware coming on the show. Man! Mike, stop me, please. All right, we're going to the next person here. We've covered the Freebird Sting and the Godfather. Moving on down the line here, we've got the next women's wrestler going into the WWE Hall of Fame. And this one here, when it comes to the women's division, I mean, I'm not going to tell you I think one should or should not belong in over the other because, quite frankly, over the years, there hasn't been a huge explosion of women's wrestlers that were great. Now, back in the day, you had your Sherry Martells, your Wendy Richters, your Fabulous Moolahs, your Mae Youngs, and I do believe all 4 of them are already in. Trish
I do
Stratus is
believe so.
in, Lita's
Yes.
in. So now we're moving on to the newer era of people, if you will, for the women's wrestling. And this one this year is none other than Miss Jackie, known in Texas as Miss Texas. I believe her name is Jacqueline Moore altogether, but in WWE she went as just simply Jackie. So 2016 Hall of Fame women this year, Jackie.
Oh, Miss Jackie. Chris, it's one of my fond memories from my young adulthood. Seeing her boobies.
I sort of say, why might that be, Mike?
I swear, that woman was topless more on national television than anybody else that I can think of during that time period. Anyway, I'm not gonna say she wasn't a great talent. She was a good wrestler, as all goes. Does she deserve a Hall of Fame? Man, I think there's other people out there that would have been better. I mean, not nobody that we would remember, but without people like Gladys Gillum Gillum, we wouldn't have female wrestlers today. You could have gone into the past to find someone, but from the stock that they had, it's not a bad choice. In all honesty, I mean, the only other one I could think of would be Rena Mara or Lesnar, as she goes now, or as we would know her, Sable.
Sable. I don't know if they're at that point of putting Sable in or not. If you want to talk about older women wrestlers that should have been in there, or still could have been in there, that's not been named yet, there was Misty Blue Sims, there was Candy Divine, gosh, on the tip of my tongue. Quite a few of them I've seen wrestle in AWA over the years, and there's some that came through. Debbie Combs is another one I couldn't think of there. She's been around for a while. Quite a few more that could have been in there before Jackie, and maybe even before Trish and Lita. But what we're talking about here is the WWE Hall of Fame, first of all, not the Hall of Fame. So I think that's the main reason why. And of course, we had this same discussion, it feels like, last Friday for some reason. Uh, Bringing up Jackie, and I brought this up to you last week when we were talking about it. I wondered how it was that, with as many times as she had her wardrobe malfunctions, how it was she's able to get in, but we don't hear much talk about China still, with China doing her mistakes that she did making the movies. And this year also we've got the celebrity wing of Snoop Dogg coming in, which we're not going to talk too much about. But what did he do? What did he direct? Did he not direct some pornographic movies and Girls Gone Wild movies and stuff?
He sure did.
So how
But
can you say, Triple H, that you're afraid a kid will type in uh, China and it brings up a night in China or whatever the other one was called? And now you're not afraid of them bringing up Snoop Dogg and his accomplishments of music. And oh, by the way, he directed some porn movies. Oh, and hey, here's Miss Jacqueline. She was topless with her boobies showing for quite a few times, riding the shoulders of Earl Hebner around the ring. I mean,
it's probably the most action Hebner
where
got for
where does it
God
stop?
knows how long.
Where do they draw the line at? I mean, they're all WWE people. Where
Well,
do you
let's
draw the line?
let's be honest, Chris. When somebody's going to Google Snoop Dogg, probably one of the last things that's going to come up is adult film producing. But when you Google China, one of the first thing that's going to come up is her making a hardcore porn with X Pac.
See, I can't agree with you on there because I have Googled China before. All right, and just to see what would come up first, 'cause I knew we'd have this discussion again, right? So I have Googled China, and that's not nowhere even on the first page of stuff that comes up.
But you did find it, didn't you,
But
Chris?
well, no, I just knew about it. I didn't continue searching for it, but we all knew about what had happened in the past. I just wanted to see, hey, is it first page information anymore? And it's not. It's done been gone and past. It's like Hulk Hogan right now. The first page of Hulk Hogan is no longer about how he got caught with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife making a video. It's about his lawsuit that he just won. Now, when you look at it, because now the video's past, the lawsuit's present. People have moved past the video and stuff. So I just wonder if WWE will move past it and maybe next year consider bringing China in. But the biggest part of her not being there, and you nailed it on the head last week when we talked about it, are the hard feelings right now between people.
Yep, that's all it is, Chris.
So I guess it's a hard pill for some people to swallow, but it is what it is. So moving on along here, we're going to go to the next person in line, and this is my, oh God, one of my favorites going in this year. Never was a favorite when he was wrestling. I hated him when he wrestled, but from a fan's respect, at least, to the wrestling business, I love seeing him going in. So next one we're going to talk about, 2016 WWE Hall of Fame, is Stan the Lariat Hansen.
Oh, Stan Hansen. Chris, this guy is a legend. You know, a lot of us American viewers and lovers of professional wrestling might know who he is, but aren't real familiar with his overwhelming popularity, especially in Japan.
Huge in Japan.
Huge, absolutely huge. The man was like, he was like the Hulk Hogan of Japan at the time. People would just line up, come to see him, you know, and they couldn't have picked anyone better to induct him, Chris. Big Van Vader. Everybody's, you know, that's a wrestling fan has heard the story, gone and seen the YouTube video of him and Stan the Lariat Hansen in a match. Some shots are thrown. You know, Stan was always known for being a little bit stiff in the ring.
Yes.
And he knocks Vader's eye right out of the socket. And then Vader rips his little, you know, mask off. The crowd's gasping. He sticks his eye back in his socket, and they just keep on going.
That is something else too. It is a great, and it's a story of stories in wrestling of that happening. And before I go any further and say my little piece on it, I am sorry I did forget to announce who was bringing people in. It completely slipped my mind. So the people we've already touched on real quickly here. The Freebirds are being inducted by the New Day. Makes no sense whatsoever. Kevin Von Erich still going, huh? Sting is being inducted by Ric Flair himself. The Godfather by Ron Simmons and JBL. Miss Jackie being inducted by the Dudley Boys. I don't know what tie the Dudley Boys have with Jackie, but they are inducting her. So
Maybe they like boobies too, Chris.
that could be it. I mean, I believe the closest action they had with her was in TNA when they put her through a table in TNA wrestling. But once again, that's not even anything bought by WWE at this point in time, so they have no ownership on that. It's
Not
crazy.
yet.
Not yet, but hopefully, if they ever sell out, they sell out to somebody else just to spite Vince. Because let's face it, that woman don't need the money. The family got money. She could
Oh yeah.
just she could kind of stick it to them and sell her stuff over to Ring of Honor and add more to their roster if they really wanted to. Stan Hansen though, Stan the Lariat Hansen. I grew up watching him on AWA Wrestling on ESPN during the week. The man would come out there, tobacco just spewing out of his lip over here. You know, he's spitting it out and everything. He's nasty. He gets there talking. You get that cowbell rope in one hand, got the other hand doing this right here. The big old cowboy hat on. Don't touch his cowboy hat. All right, don't do it. Don't touch the hat. And he would sit there and run his mouth against Nick Bockwinkel, Kurt Hennig, Greg Gagne, whoever the case may be, Leon White, which is Van Vader, whoever the case may be at the time. And while he's sitting there trying to run his mouth, doing his promo, you got the tobacco juice just edging out more and more down his chin there. It's really gross and nasty. But when he got in the ring, everybody used to say, like you said, he was stiff. People used to say Nikita Koloff was stiff when he had that Russian sickle. The Russian sickle cannot touch the lariat. The only thing that's come close to being the lariat over the years has been JBL's clothesline from hell. That's the closest thing ever.
Which he
And
has admitted he is modeled from Stan Hansen.
exactly, and it looks so much like it when he connects with it. And the most powerful ones are when he throws them into the ropes, and they come back and he just catches them with the clothesline. Not when he comes off the rope himself and clotheslines them that running start. No, if he takes just a standstill approach and they come running at him and he gets that clothesline, it looks so vicious, just
Oh
like
yeah.
Stan Hansen used to do. And Stan Hansen could do it coming off the ropes real well too. He'd come off the ropes, and not only would he catch him with the arm, he'd get the shoulder right in with it as well. So great stuff. I love seeing Stan Hansen go in. He was also, like you said, big in Japan, along with Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. The three of them would go there and just really wreak havoc for a while. Um, Next in line here, which is our last wrestler going in, and I'm not messed up with him going in. They probably could have waited a couple years still on him, but this year the last wrestler we got here going into the 2016 WWE Hall of Fame is the Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man. Chris, man, I grew up watching the Big Boss Man. Feuding with Dusty Rhodes all the way up to feuding with The Undertaker, feuding with The Big Show. Boss Man has been there. It seems like he was always there. And he was always near that top echelon of the card and of main event, but never quite seemed to get there. But he could have. I don't have any issue with him going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, yeah, there's some other people that they could put in, but as WWE talent goes, I think they really picked a good one this time.
Well, Boss Man, not only was he not always a big boss man. He came into WCW as Big Bubba Rogers. He was the bodyguard to Jim Cornette, who was managing the Midnight Express at the time. And he said he was tired of the wrestlers getting their hands on him when his boys were wrestling, so he brought in Big Bubba Rogers. Mama paid a lot of money for him, he said, to come in and watch his back for him. So he's just up there in the background, big hulking beast of a person, dressed in a suit that looked like would barely fit him. Had the hat on, the sunglasses. Eventually, he broke into a little bit of wrestling there. Dusty Rhodes noticed the potential they were missing out on and got him in there. He wrestled the likes of Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, as well as others as well there. And eventually left and moved on to the WWE and came in as the Big Boss Man. And he was very impressive from the get-go, from the start. So, like you said, anybody from Hulk Hogan to Undertaker to what was a guy named Nails he fought too for a while, wasn't it? Like a
Yes,
former,
yeah.
supposed to be like a former inmate or something at a prison he worked at, if it is supposedly, to feuding with the Big Show and doing a controversial thing such as dragging his father's casket across the cemetery. Uh,
Did he also have a feud with the Mountie?
the Mountie, yes. Dusty Rhodes, as he come back into when Dusty Rhodes come in, trying to sell the polka dots. There, he had his
Oh my
fight.
god.
Had his fight with his feud with the Big Boss Man as well. So, Big Boss
It's
Man's
funny.
being. Hmm?
It's funny that you mentioned that because that's one of my earlier memories is Dusty Rhodes as a wrestling fan. The Brother Love show. Dusty Rhodes was on the Brother Love show, and he had on those horrible polka dots. And he had stole the big boss man's nightstick, and he was up there doing a promo about it. And at the end, he started dancing with that nightstick, and I just kept thinking to myself, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but it's so funny. I love it." Of
Yeah.
course, I wasn't that old at the time, and now that I look back on it, and I watched it again the other day, and I thought to myself, they were trying to make Dusty's sexuality ambiguous. This is where Gold Dust came from.
Yeah, so I say, where we seen that at before? I mean,
Oh yeah,
no wonder why they went that direction with him.
oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Created
He's
and
flipping that nightstick around and he's waving his finger, and I'm just like,
and your thoughts on Slick? You didn't want to introduce him into the Hall of Fame.
you know, I really don't have any real connection with Slick, so
Did Slick
you
even
have
manage
to.
him at one point in time?
I don't know.
I
If he did,
remember.
it was a long time ago and a very short.
I want to
It had to.
say that they had a Survivor Series together. I think because Slick managed a one man gang, or well, the African Dream, Akeem, and who was the other one he managed? There was Akeem and
Oh
I don't know.
God,
Maybe it was Big Boss Man. Akeem and the Big
maybe
Boss Man. Did they
maybe
tag together?
they might have
That's during a time where I didn't pay much attention to WWE because I mean they were circus and cartoon like, and I wasn't into
because they
that
had
kind of
Akeem
wrestling.
the African Dream.
Oh man, you know, one man gangs on Facebook, right? And he will occasionally respond to some stuff you put on there because he addresses his fans through Facebook, and people will write back to him, and sometimes he'll answer specific people sometimes. And I remember him talking about his glory days in the WWE, so I chimed in and said, "Were they glorious when you were Akeem of the African Dream as well?" And all I got was a response that had my name on it and dot 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 dot. So I'm assuming that those were not so glorious for him versus his biker look for the one man gang that he had, which is a shame. But once again, victim of circumstance of the WWE. If you're going to go to the circus and enjoy the circus, you got to dress like the circus too. Um, Last part of this, and if you want to talk about it, you can. I ain't got nothing to say. I do not endorse or appreciate the celebrity wing at all. But this year they are inducting Snoop Dogg into the WWE Hall of Fame in the celebrity wing. So Snoop Dogg in the Hall of Fame.
All I can say about that, Chris, is that if you're going to have the Snoop Dogg and the Godfather in the same building, there's going to be some bad decisions happen.
I just
Hey,
I, I
let's
can't
not
do
even
it.
talk about it.
I
It's
can't even,
just,
I can't even talk about it. I can't do it.
it's
So
just,
let's just move on along. That's going to be our coverage at least of the Hall of Fame and what we thought about it this year. Next year, hopefully, they will bring in some deserving people. We'd love to see an Ivan Koloff. We'd love to see. Well, let me rephrase this. I'll tell you who I would love to see, and Mike could tell you who he'd love to see. But I would love to see an Ivan Koloff, a Rock and Roll Express, a Midnight Express with Jim Cornette, all three together inducted. I would love to see that. I would love to see they're going to go with the women's wrestling. I'd like to see one of the old ones like Misty Blue Sims if she's still around. I don't even know, but if she is, I'd love to see someone like her or Candy Divine or Debbie Combs go in versus some of the newer ones. And we'll probably see someone instead like Tori Wilson. Who knows? Or the Queen of Extreme. What's her name? Maxine or something? I don't know.
Francine.
Maxine, Georgia Dean. Who cares?
Paula Dean. Maybe
Paula
she'll get in the
Dean.
celebrity
Paula
ring.
Dean. Butter, y'all. Butter. Um,
Okay.
anyway,
Dial it back. Dial it
that
back, Chris.
I know, dial it back, dial it back. I'm trying to get back in the groove here. Other wrestlers, there's such so many, man. I don't know.
Oh,
Those
Luthez,
are the main.
Owen Hart.
Those are my main ones I'm gonna throw out there. Okay, then you bring some out as well.
Yeah, I mean, Luthez, Owen Hart. Um, I wouldn't mind for him to induct somebody like Loch Ness. I know Loch Ness in WCW, but he was a Giant Haystacks over in England. Because at the time, he was like the Hulk Hogan in UK. He was the biggest thing going, you know. So the list is endless. But we'll probably get I don't know, the Moondogs. Are they in there already?
No, there's no Moondogs in there. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure you'll
We'll
see the
get Moondog
Moondogs.
spot next year.
I'm not sure you'll see the Moondogs in there either because I don't think they made enough national spotlight. Really, they showed up in the WWE for a minute and they weren't really all that destructive. They were at their best when they were in the Memphis area and running a rough shot there, feuding with the Fabulous Ones or with someone like Lawler and Dundee. So I don't see them ever really making the Hall of Fame. I'll be surprised if they do, but I mean, who knows? It is the WWE Hall of Fame.
It is a WWE Hall of Fame.
So
Well, let's move on, Chris. Let's move on to this weekend's festivities. And
festivities.
to the festivities of WrestleMania 32. And we all know WrestleMania is the biggest promotion the WWE puts on every year, and it just keeps getting bigger. And I mean, Chris, this thing is so fat this year that it's basically going to take up your entire evening. Let's start off with the network kickoff, only on the WWE network,
For nine
which
ninety
can be
nine.
yours for $9.99. Or if you can just keep making new email addresses, you can just get it free indefinitely because evidently they're having trouble giving this stuff away.
I don't understand why. I mean, the content alone that's there for the old school stuff is worth $10 a month. Better quality than YouTube, and you see entire matches, not portions. So
Well,
complete
I understand
shows.
it. I understand it in a way because not all of us have access to ultra high speed internet. And those of us that do, in some areas, have these lovely things that they're coming up with now called data caps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really putting a damper on online streaming because the cable companies have been hurt. I don't have to go through this spiel. You know what I'm talking about. All of you people out there watching know what you're talking about, especially if your cable provider is giving you a data cap. You might be like, I can't watch this whole podcast because then I can't play my game online.
Decisions.
But
But
we're the best decision
that's right.
because we
We're a lot
are
better than
better.
Halo.
Yeah,
We're
yeah, yeah, or whatever it is you're
we're much
playing.
better than Grand Theft Auto. Put your
Yeah.
Warcraft down, kids. All right,
Have
and
you
watch
ever seen
us.
anything scarier than that right there? Than that Chris Adams on Warcraft? No way. Right? If he was a character on Warcraft, everyone else would turn and run.
And from a former Warcraft player, I will admit it, former Warcraft player,
He's
I
rehabilitated
am
people because data
rehabilitated
caps.
exactly, and I can tell you where your money is better spent, and it's right here with us, easily,
Yeah.
hands down. All right, hands down, easy. All right, so
So okay, so at 5 p.m. we start the kickoff show, and then at 6 p.m. we get the pre-show, which will air on the USA Network and simultaneously on the WWE Network. So we'll start with the pre-show card, Chris.
don't forget what's happening before that too. They announced Monday night. Did
Oh,
you?
oh,
You may have missed it. Did you see
missed it.
Monday night at all?
Um, yes, I did, but not
Did you?
fully.
Did you see when the coach come out there when New Day was going back up after their victory? Jonathan Coachman come out when they
I did see the coach, but I was busy attending to my children at that time.
well, the coach announced that ESPN is going to be bringing this up throughout the day, off and on, and they're going to be having checkups, updates, and stuff up until start time of WrestleMania. So when WrestleMania begins, I guess their coverage will end, but up and throughout the day, they'll be covering some stuff because they do have that show on there with Jonathan Coachman now about wrestling on ESPN now. So that's pretty good stuff right there. It's the first time it's ever happened that they're bringing that. But now on, as you said, though, to your kickoff show.
So the pre-show card, we have Natty, Paige, Brie, Alicia Fox, and Eva versus Lana, Tamina, Naomi, Summer, and oh, I missed it. I had this all. And Emma.
Emma. So yeah, she just
Emma.
came back. Emma.
So a match that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
It's a way to feature the divas in there somehow. They're not getting
So
in
it's
WrestleMania.
it's part. I guess they had to put Lana somewhere. So then after that, we get the Andre the Giant over the top battle royal, which is really sad to me that it has been relegated to the pre-show.
I did not know that was on pre-show. That
It
is
is
terrible
on the
news.
pre-show.
How is
It is
that? How
terrible
is that
news.
not WrestleMania worthy to have? I mean, if you're so dedicated to your former stars like Andre the Giant, are you trying to say now that Andre the Giant's name is not good enough to be associated with your main event show? The Battle Royal does not have to be the main event; it can be the opening match.
No,
But
I have a theory on this, Chris.
okay,
I have a theory that that a lot of their talent is out hurt right now. So we're going to see a lot of non-main roster guys in this. So therefore, it's going to get relegated to the pre-show.
well, a lot of them showed up on Monday night in the ring, and yeah, I can see it not being a whole lot of huge names. I mean, the biggest names in there, I think, were Big Show and Kane. You had what's that tag team? Because they're so irrelevant these days that I don't remember their name. Wannabe Road Warriors.
Oh yeah, the Ascension.
The Ascension. Thank you. The Ascension, I believe, are going to be in it. It looked like Goldust and Stardust are going to be in it. I think the Usos are even in it. Um, there was Zack Ryder. There was Jack Swagger. Um, gosh, there was a couple more in the ring. They were all fighting with each other, and and of course being Big Show and Kane standing tall in the end. Mark Henry came
Pun
down
intended.
there. Yeah, pun intended. Mark Henry came down there, and he got double choke slammed for his efforts. Other than that, I'm not sure who else will be in it, but I would have thought that would have been at least opening match worthy of
It was
that.
very surprising to me to see it stuck on the pre-show card. And then the final match of the pre-show is going to be the Dudley Boys versus the Usos. In another match that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but should be a damn good match.
So there's no Dudleys, no Usos in WrestleMania either.
No.
Wow. Well, now I'm very interested to hear in the card for WrestleMania because I have not heard the entire rundown of the card
Well,
yet, and
well,
I'm curious now that they're not in it. I wonder, will they be having any true tag team matches in there, or are they just throwing people together and putting them in, or
well, let's have a drum roll. Give me a drum roll,
oh, oh
Chris.
here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, WrestleMania 32 card brought to you by Bodyslam The Competition.
Yes, that's right. We're here for you.
So, starting out your lovely WrestleMania 32 card, we are going to have the League of Nations versus the New Day in a 4-on-1 or 4-on-3 handicap match.
Doesn't seem
And you
very enticing from the New Day's point of view, does it, for a handicap match? I mean, it's already
if
handicapped when they're three on, when it's just supposed to be 3-on-3, and they got to put the one guy in the ring with them. So, um,
well, the way I see it is, the League of Nations probably needs to pick up a couple more members in order to take down the New Day, because New Day rocks.
did you hear any talk going around? I'm sure this is strictly rumor, so please, people, do not get your hopes up for this. Do not say Chris Adams reported that this was going to happen. This is strictly a rumor, and I'm curious if anybody else has heard it. Somebody mentioned the possibility, because they said he's got to make his appearance somewhere in WrestleMania, of a certain movie star who returns every year at WrestleMania joining up with the New Day against the League of Nations.
That's a new one on me, Chris. I haven't heard that. I have heard rumors of him coming back to interfere with a match that's supposed to happen later on in the card. But
It just makes me wonder if there's any truth to it or not. I don't see where the tie is in with it. I don't recall, and then I don't know if the New Day might have mentioned they're trying to recruit The Rock or something. They may have mention because they say crazy things on the air all the time to be funny and stuff. I haven't heard it if they really did, but someone was talking about it, and I was like, nah, I can't see that happening. Really, not with the New Day. I could see him coming in like you mentioned in the card later in the match, but I can't see it with the New Day.
no, I can't see it either. But the next match on the card, Chris, we have Kalisto, who is the U.S. champion, versus Ryback.
Talk
And
about
it's like, feed me snore.
a.
It's like a mismatch
Oh
from
man,
heck.
I do
They're
like
trying to
that.
turn. They're trying. Yeah, they're trying to turn Kalisto into the next Rey Mysterio Jr.
Exactly, they're putting him
And
against the
I
big guys and saying him, making him look like he's beating them, and now David's
and
beating Goliath again.
And honestly, I hated the whole Rey Mysterio Jr. thing. He was not a world champion kind of guy to me. It was, especially when you put him against somebody like the Big Show or the Undertaker. There's just no way. You're 5'3". It's not going to happen. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how strong you are. When you're 5'3" and a buck 80,
Yes,
and you're going against 7'4" and 500 pounds,
it's not
you're
believable.
going to get squashed.
It's
You
just not
cannot make
believable.
it believable.
No,
It's bad booking. It's bad writing. It stinks.
I never was a fan of it either. I did like Rey Mysterio because he's very athletic and things he could pull off, but I only liked it when he wrestled people more the cruiserweight style because those were
Right.
excellent matches, fast paced, countering each other. They were great matches they had. But when he went up against the likes, like you said, the Big Show or the Undertaker, it just was not great at all.
I mean, for me, it's even believable for him to go up against a Triple H or a Batista-sized opponent. But you're not going to take down a Mark Henry. You're not going to take down a Big Show, a Kane, an Undertaker, somebody of that size and power. It's just not going to happen.
No.
So now we're going to go on to another championship match that is just as crazy as it all gets. And that's Kevin Owens putting up his Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match against Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, The Miz, Stardust, Sin Cara, and Zack Ryder.
Wow. Whatever happened to just a one-on-one match these days? I mean, why does it always got to be a four-way, like a fatal four-way, or a triple threat, or a seven-man, ladder on the thing, your title of the ladder match or something? Why? Whatever happened to the days where the people was the number one contender for the Intercontinental title, and that person won and got to go? I mean, I know they had a three-way match on Raw to determine who's going to face him at WrestleMania, and I ended up missing that due to work. But you would have thought they picked one man out of the three and let him go at it, and I was thinking Sami Zayn because of their rivalry. That would have been great, a great one-on-one matchup for WrestleMania that would have been memorable. But now that you've got a seven-man, I think it's seven men you said, on top of a ladder thing, no one's really going to care as much about it. It's going to be
Nope.
a lot of fast-paced movement, but how you keep up with everybody? Well, this guy's climbing the ladder. Nope, he's getting knocked down. The first 10, 15 people climbing the ladder get knocked down.
Well, true. And another thing is that really disappoints me is there is no Damian Sandow in this. I mean,
He's disappeared a long time ago. I
yeah,
think
he's been
I
gone.
think he's in the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Possibly, hopefully, we'll see him somewhere there. But I think this is another product of you've got a lot of people out injured, and you've got to do something. Kevin Owens has got a lot of, I guess, a lot of steam behind him right now. They make it like to make fun of his weight. Now it's a ladder match. I'm sure something's going to happen there. Um, but yeah, it's a match that just looks like a disaster on paper, and it's probably going to look like a disaster in the ring. But maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, you did mention one-on-one matches at WrestleMania, and we're actually going to have one, Chris.
One at least.
We're having at least one-on-one match, and that is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. A
I
match
don't.
that I am personally looking very forward to.
I don't have the gloves, but I'm going with AJ.
Oh, it's got to be AJ.
Got to be AJ.
It
Got to
has
be
to be.
AJ
It has
Styles.
to be AJ.
This is the part where you start taking the talents you just brought in and you start pushing them forward. It's WrestleMania. You highlight them against someone like a Chris Jericho who's been there, done it, multiple time champion. What do you say? 12
First ever undisputed world
Right. And did he
champion.
not say what? Did say he said 12? Was it 12 WrestleManias he's been in?
Yep.
So I mean, bring someone like this along to bring AJ Styles in, propel him forward to the next, and make him the next number one contender for Kevin Owens and that Intercontinental title, and start his steady ascension. Don't do the whole thing like they did when they just threw Kevin Owens directly into the U.S. title match, one step below the world title. Don't throw him directly into this here. He's doing it the right way so far. It doing this, being the number one contender for the Intercontinental Champion, and maybe going toward the U.S. title after that, and so on. Eventually, getting that shot at the world title.
Agreed. Agreed. And AJ Styles is already on his way up. The fans are not going to let him be held down.
Right.
We found that out at the Rumble when he debuted. The place erupted,
I
and
thought the
they
ceiling
chanted,
was coming down.
and they chanted AJ Styles even after he was eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on along here to the next match on the card. This is a pretty healthy card, as far as the number of matches. Maybe not the quality so much, but so the next match we're going to have Charlotte versus looks like we've got
It's Becky Lynch and Sasha
and Becky
Banks.
Lynch and Sasha Banks in a triple threat match.
Mm-hmm.
Will this be the night that Charlotte finally loses the Divas Championship, or is she going to walk out of WrestleMania holding the gold?
You know, I remember we talked about this a while back when she first got it, and we said she wasn't losing it anytime soon, and we may see her first loss come next summer around WrestleMania or something like that. So I think it's quite possible we could see her maybe losing it this time around. And I'd like no one better right now to see win it, than Becky Lynch. I don't know whether they would put the gold on her or Sasha Banks, because Sasha Banks has that it thing that she had in NXT. But I would like to see Becky Lynch get that belt at least once for a minute.
I would like to see him do maybe a classic Flair angle where somebody wins and there's a problem and the title gets stripped and given back, and then it just snowballs into the next run for it, and then you get that nice legitimate win. Everything's good. It's all hunky dory.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm up in the air. They may go either way with it, in my opinion. And the next match we have up is another one-on-one match, but it is not just your regular run-of-the-mill 1, 2, 3. It is Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, or as I like to call him, Brian Pillman 2016, in a no-holds-barred street fight.
It's funny you call him Brian Pillman 2016. They have a action figure set out. I want to say it was at Wally World there, Walmart, of them two. It says something like before and after, or then and now. I think it's then and now. Then, of course, being Pillman, now being Dean Ambrose.
Well,
And
if you look at pictures of them, I mean, it's almost like now and now.
exactly, it's very scary, the similarities between the two. I'm sorry, I don't care how much of a future Dean Ambrose is with the company. He's not going to beat Brock Lesnar, I don't think, unless he hits him with a Mack truck. And then there's still a question if he'll get up or not. So,
Well, Lesnar may grab the Mack truck and rip the engine out of it and then beat Ambrose to death with it.
I think Ambrose literally has to get that chainsaw that chainsaw Charlie gave him and cut off Brock's two arms so he can't put that finishing move or any suplexes on him. He has to do something to keep it from happening, because right now, I don't care how many times he hits him with a kendo stick. He's gonna take that and snap it in half over his head or something. He can get a chair all he wants to, but Brock's coming back from the chair. He might put him to a table. He's gotten up from that. He's gotten up from being to the announcer's table.
He beat The Undertaker
I
at
know. I
WrestleMania.
mean, come on. You gotta have something. He's literally going to hit a aluminum baseball bat or Triple H's sledgehammer and conk him out in the head with it to literally win this match. That's the only chance he really has.
I agree. I totally agree. The next match on the card, Chris, we have The Undertaker versus Shane O'Mac, Hell in a Cell. Shane wins. He gets control of Raw. Undertaker loses. He no longer wrestles at WrestleMania.
Is that a stipulation? He no longer wrestles at WrestleMania? That's been
That
thrown
is a
in?
stipulation. Yes, that is a
Man.
stipulation.
All right. And it, man, it just. I want Shane McMahon to win, but let's face reality. If the Undertaker's still able to wrestle, he's going to wrestle more WrestleManias. He claimed on Monday Night Raw it's not going to be his last WrestleMania. unless they got some other kind of plans behind scene and they're just telling the story. And this is what he's saying now, but he really has intentions of retiring, and this is the last one. And say he goes out, not at the hands of Shane O'Mac, but like me and you talked about before, with some outside interference of some sort. There's been speculations that you'll see some run-ins somehow. I know it's Hell in a Cell, but how do you explain lights going down and someone magically appearing anyway? Right? That's what they do a lot of the times. Could be somebody hidden under the ring that jumps out and does something. Could be an old WCW person making a comeback for a second. You could see
You
Sting
could see a
himself.
cage malfunction.
You could
I
see.
mean,
You could. You could.
the cell has broken before, Chris.
Right. It has.
But we also saw on Monday night that Shane O'Mac does intend to do the things that he used to do. He
It,
did the elbow drop. It looked like it just about killed him.
if anybody out there did not see Monday Night Raw, go back and just look at the beginning of it. I mean, you can see it on
Yeah.
Hulu. You can go to WWE's website and see the clip of what Shane McMahon did. He walked up there. He got man to man in front of him. Told him what he thought about him. Um, got called a name and took it to him. And started wailing on him with fists. And of course, the Undertaker got wailing back on him. Shane took the upper hand when he smashed the monitor in the Undertaker's head a couple of times, spread him out on the table or the announcer's desk, and then what happened, Mike?
Elbow drop, baby.
We're talking dedication to the
Big.
Macho Man, big time. I mean, he went further than the Macho Man probably ever flew with that elbow from the corner all the way to the desk and drove him through the desk, and then gets up and finally makes his way out and gets to the edge of the ramp, and the Undertaker just rises up as normal. They're staring each other down, talking about, talking trash from one end to the other, pointing at the WrestleMania sign. It's going to be a great match, I think. But in order for Shane McMahon to win it, truly win it, there's going to be some kind of outside interference that helps him win it. Um, and if not, I think you're going to see the Undertaker win, and there's going to be some other kind of thing if they're serious about this angle after WrestleMania to
The thing that
maybe.
gets me, Chris, is that it would make no sense to have Shane lose
There's no
because they're
sense
we're
because
we've all heard the rumors of they're bringing back the brand split. They're wanting to take the company in that sort of direction, and here is the prime opportunity to do it with somebody that the fans still love, they still connect with, and obviously he. Because we'd speculated that he was going to find somebody to fight on his behalf.
hmm
Well, I think that speculation, that rumor, was completely blown out of the water on Monday night. Because why do that? Why put yourself through that? Take that chance if you're not going to put the show on for the people. Because if he doesn't wrestle now, it'll ruin it all. It'll ruin everything that they've built up for. If Shane McMahon does not step in that Hell in the Cell and does not actually put on a show and actually wrestle, I don't care if he has outside interference help him. I don't care if they bring in Goldberg, Sting, John Cena, the Gobbledygooker, the Red Rooster. I don't care who they bring in to help him. But if he does not at least put forth an effort and at least not attempt and actually wrestle, the fans will riot. They
and
will be done.
and I can't help but think that if someone's going to come in and help somehow, the ultimate person to do the screw job for them and join up with Shane McMahon because of how the tension was going between them when his injury happened, and coming back in, no longer being their man anymore. I could see Seth Rollins making his appearance finally back at WrestleMania, where he made history just last year, winning the title and showing up and making sure that the McMahons get screwed out of the company and Shane McMahon has full operation because he's now Shane's new guy.
Hmm.
And the
I can
room,
see that.
yeah, and that would be something else there as well to see. So there's other speculations that's been out there, but I'm not going to go ahead and bring all of them up again. We've already talked about them in the past, and there's not very much likelihood of some of them really and truly happening. So we'll wait and see. We'll let it be a surprise to us as to what may or may not happen on that.
And we're going to have the final match of the night, Chris. Of course, it's the World's Heavyweight Championship. And Roman Reigns versus Triple H.
I've been wanting to see the two go at it in the ring since they've been having their little knockdown dragouts everywhere. Man, was having this discussion the other night on Facebook, and one of our former guests, Bobby Fulton, he puts a post out saying that Roman Reigns is destined to be booed for life because everywhere he goes, they just boo him, boo him. Oh, we don't like him. Quit shoving him down our throats. Boo, boo. And when he was in the Shield, they were like, push him, push him. We want to see more Roman Reigns. Push him. And now we got him out there, and they can't stand it no more. Now he's being shoved down our
Well,
throats.
that's because they
And
wanted him pushed to like the Intercontinental
well,
Championship or the U.S. title, not the World Championship,
well, there
Chris.
was there was never any limitation on with the push they were yelling for at the time. But now they got him, they don't want him. So the only thing I can think they could actually ever do for this guy to make it up for him is to put him back as a heel and just make him just be roughshod over everybody and just be flat out mean as can be. Because right now, the face is not working for him. He can't talk well like a face should. He's got no management to talk for him. He needs to be a bad guy, just running roughshod and not talking a whole lot.
I don't know, Chris. It's 2016. He's done a commercial having a tea party with his daughter. I don't know if this is possible. I mean, I really don't. I mean, the man may have to go away, come back in a mask, like the old
I
days.
I could
The
see
new
that.
Charlie Brown from out of town.
I could see that. Maybe not as Charlie Brown from out of town, but I could see them. I could see them. Look, seriously, saying he's got an injury, even though he don't.
Hmm.
No
Hmm.
injury, but he's out for a couple, 3 months. All right, no Roman Reigns. They do without him. People start forgetting about Roman Reigns. All right, 3 months later, we got this guy come out. He's got a new look to him. He's a masked guy. He's fairly strong. He's got the hairs either tucked up under the mask where it's cut shorter now, one or the other. Um, they would have to put a suit on him of some sort
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
the tats would give him away,
Oh yeah.
unless they want them to give him away. Because back in the day, whenever somebody loses a loser leave town match, when they come back, it's obvious it's them under the mask. But that was the whole point of it. That was the humor factor behind it. You knew it was them. The bad guy knew it was them, but they couldn't get the mask off of them. And then something would happen one day where they'd work it out to where they get the mask off of them, but it wouldn't be them; it'd be somebody else, and the real guys would be at ringside laughing at them. I told you it wasn't me, and then go back under the mask the next week. I don't think they would do it that way though. If they're going to really do it, they need to repackage him with a manager and him under a mask and some kind of a body armor type suit. Not a body armor, but a body suit of some sort that would cover up his arms for sure.
Yeah,
Where it
some
can't
like
be
Giant
seen.
Gonzalez stuff going on.
Maybe not like Johnny Gonzalez exactly, but I'm trying to think of someone that would fit for it. Back in the day, the way they did the old assassins and the medics and Fire and Flame and all them, they had the orange
Well, Kane
mask with the
had the
white
full,
mask. They had the
you know,
oh Kane, yeah, there you go,
yeah,
more
Kane had the
current.
full suit thing going
Right,
on
the full
after.
body sleeves. He's
Hmm.
got body sleeves on with his long tights and yeah, exactly, just like a Kane outfit would be, but a mask, a real mask, not something like a Kane mask, a real mask of some sort, and have someone be his mouthpiece. Someone needs to come in. And I don't know who that would be, who they'd make it. Maybe he could come in as another Heyman guy. Heyman would take on him and Brock Lesnar both. That could be
That's
something right
possible.
there.
That could be fun.
You could have a whole gimmick of
And no more
Heyman.
Superman punch.
Right, take the Superman punch away. He can still spear if he wants to, but no Superman punch. Everybody spears, it seems like. But you could have a whole angle where Heyman's taking over the WWE, and he's got Brock Lesnar, the man who did all this stuff, and now he's got this guy, whoever they decide to call him, one under the mask, and it can be Roman Reigns, and he can be his mouthpiece and make him just a dominant force. That'd be great, but we probably won't
That
see
would
that
be.
because they don't do great stuff for us.
I'd also want to make a mention of something else, Chris. CBS Sports, after WrestleMania, is also going to be putting on a radio show, The Taz Show. And it's going to run from the time that WrestleMania 32 ends until 2 o'clock in the morning.
What was the show?
The Taz Show.
Oh, as in the former wrestler Taz.
As the way I understand
Because
it,
he has a
yes.
podcast show that he does.
And yes, and CBS Sports is going to be promoting it. And it will be running right as soon as WrestleMania ends till 2 a.m.
Now,
So everybody, your WrestleMania experience this year will last all day and all night long.
Well, hold on.
This thing is so huge
Hold on. Am I to understand that you just said they are going to take the Taz podcast show over Body Slam the Competition?
because we will be directly after WrestleMania 32 doing a recap, and we are better than Taz.
We will
We're
be
taller.
recapping the
We're
show.
taller than Taz.
Well, it don't
We've
take
had
much to be
less
taller than.
surgeries than Taz.
Exactly. We got less tats. We look nicer. We got more hair than Taz does combined between the two of us.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I was feeling bad for you, Chris, so I went ahead and took mine down so you wouldn't feel so bad. I took it down
so you've
a
gone
little
from
shorter than
so
usual.
you've gone from the forehead to the five head.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
But
that's not that's
you
nice
know
of
what?
you.
My uncle always said that men who bald in the back are great thinkers,
Uh huh.
and men who bald in the front are great lovers, and men that bald both places just think they're great lovers.
There you go. Oh well, I must say, I'm not quite sure how to top that one. I have nothing for you. Usually I have something in return. All I can
I
say
know
is, hey, look,
we're
look.
going to
All
try
I
to
can
keep the
say,
humor down, but I can't
uh,
turn it off, Chris.
all I can say now is thanks a lot. Now we won't get Taz either. Okay, we have ruined it for Taz as well.
we're going. Taz is going to want to come on the podcast so bad, Chris, that he's going to be calling and be like, "Man, let me come on the podcast." Everybody tuned in to Body Slam the Competition. Nobody tuned into the Taz show.
Well, I'm not gonna guarantee that people won't tune into the Taz show, but I would be willing to say that I think we could pull a few more people in. Now that we've got these smiling faces out here for everyone to look at.
Look at this. I
I
mean,
mean, they got to come out and watch. Now they might not have listened, but they will watch.
they will watch. Yeah, I mean, because
Yes,
all of our viewers and listeners are extremely attractive women, and this is what they want to see.
I'm sure that's the case. Yes.
Uh,
Although Jeff Teeter said he would watch us tonight or later on when we get it put on, so I don't think he appreciates being called an attractive woman.
well, he
Uh,
might. He may have that Bruce Jenner thing going on.
I'll
And
message him.
now we're never gonna have Bruce
Great.
Jenner on the
Now we're
show.
never gonna have Teeters on the show either. That's just great. All right.
Oh,
Well,
Peter's gonna come on the show. You know
let's
he
just
will.
stop while we're ahead. All right. Let's just stop while we're ahead. What else? We have anything else left of WrestleMania, or is it just now that it pretty much all day, all night?
That's pretty much it. All day, all night. I mean, tune in to us after WrestleMania. We are going to have the best after coverage,
Yes, we will be covering it for sure.
guaranteed.
Definitely. In the same format as we're doing tonight, we will be back on video again to bring the best out to you we can over the WrestleMania. And we might even report on to you the NXT takedown that just did happen tonight. Now, only reason why we're not going to talk about it tonight is because this show is being recorded currently right now, and then we'll do some editing. And by the time it goes up, everything will be done, yes, but we can't drag this show out too long. So I think we're going
Right.
to
I mean,
combine the WrestleMania results and with the NXT results and just have the Superstar Weekend in review, basically, for what we've had. I think that's the best way to really go with it. And here soon, we will be having some sponsors, technically, for the show. Well, not really sponsors per se, I guess, but we will be having some things for you to check out there for us, if you will. So keep that in mind. Uh, Mike, I guess it's about time to get ready to start wrapping this particular show up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put out there for everybody. Make sure you go to the website at http:// bodyslamthecompetition.com. You will see all of the blogs that we have there. You will see links to our podcast there. Now, I will say the podcast portion of it, we are currently re-uploading some of our past podcasts as we have moved away from Blog Talk Radio. We are no longer with Blog Talk Radio. We're doing everything back ourselves again. And so some of them you may not find just yet, but I am working hard when my time's off that I have to get the other ones uploaded back on there for your listening pleasure again. So just bear with us for that. And the website will be back on top again here very shortly. If you do go and register for the website for the monthly newsletter, you can become eligible for the contest that we'll be running on there only in the newsletter.
and what can they win, Chris? That's the important
There,
thing.
you know what? I can't say because if you want to know what you win, you have to register for the contest. And the only way to get in the contest is to get in the newsletter. So
But I guarantee it's something really good, and it's not a
it
used pair of socks.
it's not a used pair of my socks or underwear. No, it is something wrestling related. Will always be something wrestling related. You never can tell. It could be a video from one of the past pay-per-views or a compilation deal. Could be T-shirts, could be action figures, could be a combination of the things I mentioned above. You just never can tell what we will have up there and available. Could be something that's autographed as well. I have
It could
had
be a
some.
Chris Adams bobblehead.
It could. I mean, if you do hit a bobble like that right there,
Oh, stop that! Don't do that! Don't do that! No.
I gotta stop.
Edit that out.
The chin does this right here. I gotta stop that. In all seriousness, though, it's a great thing. There'll be a lot of great stuff to give away. We're not quite like the Wrestle Crate or anything, but it's a fun thing because you're involved in the competition with it, and part of the giveaways and stuff will be revolving around answering trivia type questions for wrestling. So you'll have your work cut out for you. Um, as you can see, we're doing a video. This is going to be on YouTube. We're going to start bringing the YouTube stuff back again, where we stopped a while back. It was just me at the time doing it. Now that I got Mike with me, we want to do this more often. We may try to do some green screen working with it here eventually, like I used to do, but nothing is set in stone with that just as of yet. We'll have guests on the show here soon talking with us as well. And we will go back to the interviews. Also, we have some people set to come in soon. We got Terry Garvin Sims, which I had to call and apologize to profusely earlier because I was having some web issues earlier today, and I was supposed to do a podcast with him to record, and I could not get on the internet and stay online long enough to do it. Luckily, it cleared up before tonight got here. So we still have Terry Garvin Sims left to come, and a few more names I'm trying to get in as well. Mike, anything you want to put in before we go?
New Day rocks, Chris.
I knew it. That's why I asked.
New Day rocks.
That's the only reason why I asked.
Day rocks.
I know you want to get it in before we leave. All right. Well, until that next show, I am Chris Adams, and you are who?
I am Mike Currents, the whitest member of the New Day.
And we will see you guys on the next show. Until then, thanks for joining us at Bodyslam The Competition. Good night.
Good night, everybody.